Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to Mornings with Mimi. I hope that everyone enjoyed yesterday's story that we read. I love you, honey bunny. It was such a cute story. And I know that having my grandson Jax on camera with me was kind of an interesting morning, I should say. He's so wiggly. But I enjoy having visitors. I enjoy my grandchildren coming with their parents. So I hope that you had a wonderful day yesterday and you're having a great morning this morning. The sun has been out here, but it looks like it's hiding behind the clouds. And as I was thinking, my family, not me, thank goodness, but there's two more new babies that are coming to our family. And we are quite excited about that. I was just thinking of how many, maybe, of you boys and girls, maybe your mom is expecting a new baby. And that's always exciting, and it's fun to think about as all the things that you do to get prepared for the new baby. Sometimes we like to paint the room and make it a new color, freshen it up a bit, and put in some stuffed animals for the new baby. And as we decorate and put the crib in there and start buying little things, it's kind of exciting, I think, being a Mimi, a Grammy, whatever. Life is precious, and I don't know of anybody who just doesn't love new babies, little babies, just to kiss them and smell them and touch them. And they're just such a joy to come into the home because they're so precious and innocent, just like you, boys and girls. You're precious. You're precious, and you're loved, and you're special. So don't forget that. Don't ever forget that. Well, today's story that was in my pile is called Room for the Baby. And it's written by Michelle Edwards, illustrated by Jana Christie. So, as I was just thinking of the new babies that are coming into our family, I thought, well, what a perfect little book to read. Although they're not coming for a while yet. It'll be a few months. But it's exciting to start preparing. So let's read our story about this one, how they're making room for the new baby. And excuse me if that little tickle comes in my throat, and I just have to clear it sometimes. Once on 18th Avenue, when someone had something they didn't need anymore, they gave it to my mom. Worn out sheets, yarn left over from knitting a sweater, a bolt of flannel from a tailor shop that went out of business. Everyone knew my mom would put it all to good use. With what she took, Mom made our curtains and blankets, and even made herself a winter coat. What she didn't use right away, she saved for later. Mom filled our sewing room's corners, its nooks and its crannies. Then something happened that changed everything. One fine spring morning, as we buttoned our Passover matzos, Mom announced, "We're going to have a new baby." Dad drew us together in a family hug. Oh, that's when they say group hug. "Where will the baby sleep?" I asked. "The sewing room will be for the baby," said Mom. "I've always said I would use the things I saved. Now I will, and you will see." But I was worried. Could Mom really use up all that stuff before the baby was born? think he's a little concerned that there's not going to be enough room for the baby. That afternoon, Dad carried the sewing machine to the dining room table. Mom and I gathered 2 big piles of worn-out sheets that our neighbor, Mr. Lou, had brought over a few months ago. All week, Mom tore and snipped and sewed. By Friday, our Shabbat challah came out of the oven. She'd made dozens of soft diapers for the baby. Oh, she's a clever mother. It's good when you can sew and make your own things. It's cheaper that way. My daughter is expecting too, said Mrs. Finkelstein from next door. She'll need diapers just like yours. I helped Mom bundle another batch of old sheets. Now, one corner was empty. There still isn't enough room, I told her, for the baby. Patience, said Mom. You'll see. What's next? Dad asked. Mom pointed to the tower of suitcases. Here they are, all standing in the corner. Wonder what she's going to do with the suitcases. The rest of that spring, she unpacked all the pajamas, oh, I see, that our downstairs neighbors' kids had worn when they were small. She took out the elastic, the snaps, and the seams. All summer, she cut and she pinned and she stitched. So in those suitcases, that's where she had all those older pajamas stored. That autumn on Rosh Hashanah, we had apples dipped in honey for a sweet New Year. And Mom had stacks of tiny sleepers and onesies and little shirts ready for the baby. You see all that? She has made all those little sleepers and onesies for the baby to wear. Cute, said Mom's friend, Mrs. Martinez. She had a 2-year-old. So did Mrs. Lou. Oh boy, as did Mrs. Lou's sister, also named Mrs. Lou. Mom asked me to bring them a stash of basketball jerseys from the teams my uncle coached. My daughter needs some sleepers too, said Mrs. Frankelstein. She was over again. After the holiday, Mom sent me to dig out of the lost and found box that the owner of the corner candy store had given us. Boys, I guess she did have a pile of things to work with. Later, when I twirled around and around and around in the sewing room, I didn't bump into anything. See, said Mom. Progress is definitely being made, said Dad. Boys, the room is getting tidied right up, isn't it? A few weeks later, just before Simchat Torah, Mom showed me how to make a flag from chopsticks and half a sweater sleeve while she unraveled the steamer trunk full of holey sweaters and mismatched mittens. How many boys and girls have baskets probably of mismatched mittens at home? I'm thinking socks too. That usually happens. I made a flag with pom-poms and yarn streamers and tucked it away in my sock drawer. Oh, I see. That's cute. After the unraveled yarn was washed and dried, I helped Mom roll it into balls. The rest of that autumn, Mom knit and knit and knit. She's a very clever mom. Very good to have somebody handy like that that's able to knit and sew. A lot of us moms sometimes don't like to do that. Or we don't know how, that is. That winter, on the first night of Hanukkah, it snowed. Mom had blankets for the baby and new mittens for Dad and me. When our upstairs neighbor, Mrs. Mack, brought us a plate of her homemade potato, what is that? Lakeys. She stared at my mittens. My Norman's hands are always cold, she said. Maybe that's a hint that she could use a pair of mittens. Mom asked me to find the hat box filled with balls of thick wool and metal knitting needles that Mrs. Frankenstein had given her. Now there were 3 empty corners. There was almost enough room for the baby. But I wasn't worried anymore. I knew just what to do. Oh, he has a plan. Look, he has a big poster paper rolled out. Oh, and he's making a sign from what I can see. Oh, it says free stuff. Early the next morning, Mrs. Maggio came to collect a stack of magazines. Mrs. Finkelstein, came and requested only socks. She wouldn't tell me what they were for. Mrs. Lou needed empty wooden spools. He told me they're a secret project. Oh, I think they're going to make something and it's going to be a big surprise. Ah. By noon, our friends and neighbors on 18th Avenue had taken back most of what everyone had given Mom. Now there was room for the baby. Dad carried in the crib he had built from the steamer trunk. Oh, can you see that? Isn't that cute? Just the right size for a new baby. I washed the windows while Mom made curtains from the flannel that Mr. Epstein had given her when he closed his tailor shop. See, they're measuring to see how long the window is, and then so she can cut the material and make it just the right length. On the 3rd night of Hanukkah, my sister Lily was born. Oh, can you see her? There she is. Mama's holding her in the rocking chair. She was pink and perfect. And so was her room. On the last night of Hanukkah, the 2 Mr. and Mrs. Lou, Mrs. Martinez, Mrs. Maggio, Mrs. Mack, and Mrs. Finkelstein stopped by. Everyone had made a gift for Lily, and so had I. Oh, look, here's someone made a sign or a picture frame with the name Lily in it. That's cute. Once on 18th Avenue, when someone had something they didn't need anymore, they gave it to my mom. Now we all know just what to do with worn sheets and socks and every empty wooden spool. We used and reused it all, and sometimes we make it into something new. And there is Lily in her little baby's crib. That was a great story about reusing and recycling old things so that they can become new things. What a handy idea to make things out of old things that we normally would throw away. And I know, boys and girls, when I worked at the daycare, we used to do that all the time. We would save bits and pieces of yarn and material. We'd bring in paper towel rolls and toilet paper rolls and old paper, just everything we could get our hands on, because we never knew what we might need to do a craft with the children that was in our classroom. And I can tell you, they loved it. They loved to paint things and create things. And I was just thinking, little pom-poms are always a big hit, because children love to make things and glue little pom-poms on them. So whatever you may have, maybe mom has an old junk drawer or something like that, that you can ask your mom if she has some old things that you could use, and make a little craft. And maybe you could do it as a surprise, because you know Mother's Day is coming up. So that would be a nice little surprise to make something for your mom or your Mimi. Anyways, boys and girls, I hope that you enjoyed this story, and I hope you enjoy your time with Mimi sitting on my couch. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, making crafts, going outside to play, coloring, watching a movie, reading a book, or whatever it might look like. Have a wonderful day, and until we see each other again, I should say, bye-bye for now.